Hello everyone and welcome to another R&R Partners video. My name is Remus and today we are going to discuss about the taxes in Romania as of 2025. Unfortunately, there have been some changes, so we need to update the video that we have from 2024 to be applicable in 2025. If you are new to the channel and you're interested in either emigrating to Romania or incorporating a company in Romania, please consider subscribing to our channel as we post here recent and updated videos regarding the Romanian law system, the taxes, and everything that you could be interested in. So the system in Romania did not change from 2024 to 2025. We still have two main ways of doing economic activities in Romania. Either you can be a sole entrepreneurship. This in Romania would be translated into PFA, where the Romanian would be persoană fizică autorizată, or you could be a corporation, and that would be a limited liability company, or in Romanian it's SRL, or in Romanian societate cu răspundere limitată. Each of these two options of conducting economic activity in Romania has two tax systems, to say so. So we'll start first with the PFA. I will highlight the changes that entered into force. Then we would go to the Romanian limited liability company, the SRL, and we'll discuss there about the changes that happened with that form of organization also. Now, regarding the PFA, one of the major changes, to say so, would be that the Romanian authorities started having one way of looking at them. According to the Romanian law, the PFA can be incorporated either by Romanians or EU citizens. In the past, we've seen cases in which, I don't know, for example, a Ukrainian would open a PFA, but now it seems that they have strict rules and only Romanians and EU citizens can open a PFA. The first tax system for the PFA, I would call it as a fixed tax system. We call it normă de venit. So practically the Romanian government would look at the PFA and state, hey, look, as long as you are doing under a certain amount, we are going to tax you with a fixed tax each and every year. Until 2025, the tax system lowered. In the past, it was 200,000 euro, then it went down to 100,000 euro, and now it's 25,000 euro. So as long as you are doing under 25,000 euro, you can opt for the taxes on normă de venit, but you must be under 25,000 euro per year. And the taxes that you will be paying are calculated at roughly 8,000 euro or less. Usually these are established based on a Cayenne code, and these Cayenne codes vary from teaching, which is the most frequent that we've seen as of 2025, and it goes to tailoring or shoe repair and so on. Depending on your activity, if you match one of the activities from the list, you can opt for being taxed on normă de venit. One major change that I want to highlight is that as of 2024, there is no longer a fixed tax for IT consulting. In the past, it was a facility for those that were doing IT consulting to have a PFA, and the government would think that, hey, look, as long as you pay us a fixed fee, you can do as much IT consulting as you can. But as of 2025, this is no longer valid. It was abolished, and you need to be taxed on income. Speaking of tax on income, we will now discuss about the income that you will be taxed on if you go on a PFA that either you have over 25,000 euro or you are going to not have one of the Cayenne codes that are being taxed on normă de venit. Here, the taxes are roughly the same as last year, so you'll be paying tax on income for your revenue, which is 10%, but that's only on the profits, to say so. You will not be taxed on your whole revenue. You will have revenue minus expenses, and then there are two contributions that you must pay. One is a contribution for healthcare, and the second would be a contribution for social security or the pension system. The contribution for the pension system now is also capped, but the cap increased a bit, so it's 10% on your profits, but maximum 5,000 euro that you could pay to the Romanian state. And the contribution for the pension system is 25%, but this is also capped at 5,000 euro depending on your income. After you deduct from your income your expenses, the contribution for social security, for health insurance, it will result the profits that you made in that year. On those profits, you will pay an additional 10% to the Romanian state, and the rest will be yours. From my point of view, the PFA at this moment in time, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it makes sense if you're doing a very low income on your company. So basically, for example, if you'll be doing under 6 minimum gross salaries in Romania, that would be around 800 euro. In this case, it will make sense to be a PFA because you will not be paying contributions for health insurance or social security. You will be paying just the 10% if you have other incomes alongside those that you have from the PFA. Now, the second option in which it would make sense to be a PFA would be if you have a very, very high income. But in those cases, do note that the PFA system, you don't have a corporate veil. So if something happens and you are a high earner, maybe you have high risk, and you will be liable to your clients with all your assets, present and future, not as a limited liability company that is liable only with the assets or the share capital that the associates put in the company. If you're in this situation, or one of the ones that I'm going to explain in the future, if you want tailored advice and you don't know where to start off, we can also do some very high level computations regarding the taxes that you are going to pay in Romania. My advice would be to go on our website, as you can book a online consultation with us, or in person. We can see here at our office and we can do the taxes, see what corporation would be best fit for your situation, and you have a starting point tailored for your particular needs. Next in the process would be if you want to incorporate a limited liability company. As mentioned, it has two tax systems. One is a micro enterprise and the second is tax on profits. Going to the micro enterprise first, now in 2025 the conditions changed a bit. In the past we had 4 conditions, now we are down to 3 conditions. These conditions are: 1, to have minimum 1 full-time employee in the company. This was in 2024 a mandatory condition. If you incorporate the company from the start and you opt to be a micro enterprise, be aware that you have only 30 days to employ that person in your company and to pay the taxes. If you will not employ that person and you opted for the micro enterprise, you will be demoted to being taxed on profits, and unfortunately you can never go back. So you need to dissolve the company, start a new company, and so on, which is quite of a hassle. So be aware, if you opt for micro enterprise, you need to be taxed as a micro enterprise and you need that first employee in the first 30 days. Be aware that the employee, it can be assimilated with a paid director in the company. Even if you are a non-EU citizen and you don't have a residency permit, you could be a director, a paid director, and you could have your taxes being paid in Romania. The second condition would be that you can have only 1 micro enterprise. So for example, if you have 3, 4, 5 companies you need to have only one designated as a micro enterprise. You can not have multiple companies. The third condition is one that changed as of 2025. In the past, the limit for revenue on the micro enterprise, it was of 500,000 euro. As of 2025, it's down to 200,000 euro, and be aware that starting with 2026, it will be 100,000 euro maximum to be considered a micro enterprise. Also, another amendment that took effect starting as of 2024, but it's very important to highlight it. If you have 2 or 3 companies, be aware that the revenue between the companies will be collected and determined if you are in the 200,000 euro bracket. In order to determine these companies, for example, if you have shares in another public listed company, you will not be affected by this because you need to have at least 25% plus 1 share in another company to be cumulated with your current company in which you hold shares. Now, I know these are not great news, the tax limits went down, but there is one good news regarding the micro enterprise regime for limited liability companies, and that would be that we don't have the cap for consulting. In the past, you had 20% maximum that you could have been doing from consulting activities. As of 2025, there is no limit. You can do as much as you want from consulting activities, and technically that's it. You can have a company doing 100% from consulting activities, and you would be considered a micro enterprise in the future also. So we've spoken about the conditions to be a micro enterprise really fast. Now we are going to discuss about the taxes. Being taxed as a micro enterprise has its benefits. You can be taxed with either 1% or 3% on the income. There are some companies which get 3% from the start. Again, depends on your client codes, what you choose and so on. We would advise you to also speak with an accountant, as they can do some tax modeling and tell you exactly what is the best way to go. But do note that either you pay 1% or 3% on your income. Now, that will be the profit of the company. You taxed the revenue, afterwards you deduct the expenses, and you'll have the profits. When you take the profits and put it in your pocket, to say so, you'll be taxed with a dividend tax. In the past, the dividend tax was of 8%, now it increased to 10%, so it would be the same as the income tax for a PFA of 10%. However, in the case of a limited liability company, you will not be paying taxes for social contributions, for example, for a pension. You will just be paying the taxes for health insurance. However, even in the case of a limited liability company, the tax on health insurance is as last year, based on brackets. There are 3 brackets. Unfortunately, they increased a bit. The first bracket is at 5,000 euro, the second is at 10,000 euro, and the third is at 20,000 euro. As long as your dividends exceed one of these brackets, you'll be paying 10% of the bracket. So you have either 500 euro, 1,000 euro, or 2,000 euro for additional health insurance. However, also making a comparison with the PFA, do note that the PFA has a higher limit than the limited liability company, the tax on dividends for health insurance. On the PFA, it's 5,000. On the limited liability company, the dividend, it will be only 2,000. If you found this content useful, we would highly appreciate if you hit the like button down below. It really helps the channel out, and you will also be helping other expats or foreigners that are in need of free information regarding the tax system, the tax changes that entered into force as of 2020. So we discussed about the micro enterprise, the limited liability company taxes for a micro enterprise. Now we are going to be focusing on the second part of the taxes that can be in Romania, and those would be tax on profits. As a limited liability corporation, you can be taxed on profits. The tax on profits is the same as in 2024. It's 16% on the profits that the corporation makes. However, it has a very strong benefit that you do not need one employee in the company. You just start the company, you do income, you do expenses, profits are made, and the tax is on profits. So when would this type of corporation be best to be taxed on profits? Either if you are doing under around 20,000 euro, probably you will be paying less taxes on the profits and the dividends rather than being an employee and also having to pay those employment taxes. As of 2025, the minimum wage in Romania is 800 euro and around 350 euro are going to be paid as taxes on the minimum salary. So practically each and every month you'll be paying 350 euro. In order to deduct those 350 euro and plus the tax on the micro enterprise, around 20,000 euro, it's the sweet spot to think about going and paying the tax on profits. So for the tax on profits, as mentioned, the calculation is simple. Income minus expenses. If it's a plus, you tax it with 16%. The dividend tax is again 10%, and you'll have the added health insurance on the same three brackets as explained earlier. So thank you for watching. I hope that you got a lot of useful information. After this video, I'm sure that you're updated with the tax system in Romania as of 2025. And again, if you're interested, you can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram, as we post there very frequently, and we'll be in touch. See you soon and have a nice day. Bye.